All right. All right, friends. Wow, it's good to be back. Welcome, Facebook friends, soon to be friends. Also to my tribe, to my the folks that are already close to me. I got a message for all of you today, and really it's more of a message for me, and just sharing it with you because I think that's what's sometimes helpful, right? So here, let me just get my notes where I can see them if I want to, not that I might need to. A couple things are clear to me today, or becoming clear, or becoming clearer. One is I've been approaching the sales process, the marketing process, um, in a bit of a forced way. And I've preached for a long time that I want to live in force. I'm sorry, I want to live in power, not force. And so I've been approaching it in a forced way frequently. And when I say forced, what I mean is I've got one or two or three or whatever offerings. And so anybody I talk to that is interested in my help, interested in me coaching them, interested in me serving them in whatever way, I'm saying, okay, well, I've got program A, B, and C. I think program B is best for you, and this is what I'm recommending. This is what I'm offering. I'm encouraging you to give me a one-year commitment, etc. And oftentimes those conversations have felt forced to me, so I'm sure they felt forced to the person I was talking to, and I'm sure that's had an influence on, you know, whether people have, when they haven't chosen to join me, to hire me to go all out and change their body, change their life with my coaching or my assistance or my leadership. I think largely it's been influenced by how I'm showing up in making the offering and not doing a great job of really being truly me and being authentic. So I had two really meaningful conversations this morning with two men I respect greatly. Both of them involved conversations of an hour or more each. And those two conversations have helped me to learn some really critical things. I'm going to go through a few of those things right now. One, I've learned there is this general thought, at least from my perspective, among the personal growth world, the personal growth and development world, coaching, people that want to grow and evolve and change and improve, that you get to source your own experience. In other words, your environment, everything around you need not control how you feel, and need not have a huge influence on who you are becoming, how you feel. So, for example, nobody can make you mad. Your sister can hang up the phone on you during a conversation, and you might get mad, but she didn't make you mad. You got mad. So what she did might have influenced and triggered you, but again, you're the one that chose to get mad. No one can make you mad. Or same thing with happy. Oh, you get flowers. Your boyfriend had flowers delivered to work, and you might say, well, the flowers it just made me happy all day. And I get it. Yes, you were happy all day, and those flowers were an influence that helped, that influenced that. But again, the flowers themselves, or even the guy that sent you the flowers, did not make you happy. You chose to be happy. So there's this. I've been stuck in this thing and trying to believe it and trying to live it, and then not really understanding it and not really living it. So what I kind of where I felt stuck on it is, here's another illustration. Suppose I'm walking through the woods and I'm on a hike, and let's say I'm by myself and I'm on a hike and I want to get to a cabin before sundown. And let's say I'm hiking through the Appalachians, and there's a cabin that I'm going to get to, and there's hot cocoa, and there's some staples, some rice and stuff that I can cook for myself. And on the way there, say 5 miles away from a camp. Um, it's 5 in the afternoon, and sundown's at 8, and I've got 3 hours to hike 5 miles through the woods, which is no big deal, right? Easy enough. Well, 5 miles away, I step on a big old thorn. So the way I was thinking before, if I'm stuck in that energy of my environment cannot influence me, a couple things can happen. Either I can pretend I didn't step on the thorn and try to ignore it and try to force my way to keep walking. The trouble is, when I first stepped on thorn, maybe it only went, tiny bit into my shoe or into my foot, just enough that I could feel it. Well, if I step on it again, it's probably going to go farther into my foot. And if I keep ignoring it and keep trying to force myself to say, no, I'm not going to let my environment, no, 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 whatever you do, um, I'm not going to let my environment affect me. I'm going to keep being who I want to be and doing what I do. Well, then I'm going to keep walking on it until that thorn is buried all the way into my foot, and then I got a serious problem. And then I eventually have to admit, okay, my environment did affect me. I did step on a thorn, and I can't walk anymore. It hurts too bad, and eventually it's going to get infected and all kinds of problems. The other option is, instead of me trying to tell myself my environment doesn't affect me, I could say, as soon as that thorn gets in my foot, as soon as I feel it, I could immediately say, ooh, that hurts. Wow, that really hurts. I could stop. I could sit down. I could take a thorn out. I could examine my foot. Maybe do a little first aid, bandage, whatever. If the puncture is deep enough and the damage is significant enough, I might say, I'm not hiking anymore tonight. I'm making camp right here. I'm going to soak my foot. I'm going to take care of it. If it's really bad, I might even say, I'm going to make myself some crutches and hobble out of here and get to the emergency room. Or maybe because I was so sensitive to my environment and what happened, I get to take care of my foot. Turns out to be just a trivial puncture. After a 15-minute break and giving it some good care, I'm ready to go. So now I've minimized the damage by giving it attention immediately. Can you think of how that would affect you in an emotional situation? Let's say in your marriage. Let's say your wife doesn't. Oh, I could use hot button topics, but I'll try to avoid them. Let's say your wife agreed to bring home some Listerine from the store for you because you've been having, you feel like your breath is bad or whatever. And she forgets to bring Listerine home. She brings everything home. She brings a laundry detergent home. She even bought herself a new swimming suit, that she happened to see it on the shelves while she was there. But she didn't bring your Listerine. Well, you can ignore that, suppress it. Not, and this may be a true trivial of an example, but just take the example. But maybe something similar like that happens over and over, and a month later, now when you blow up, you say, and remember back when you didn't bring the Listerine? And she's saying, where did that come from? That was a nothing, and it was a nothing. But when you ignore all this stuff, okay, when I ignore stuff like this, then when it finally comes out, it's ugly, and it's way magnified. So, on a 10 scale, her not remembering the Listerine might have been a 2, where 10 is awful and 0 is absolutely nothing. Well, maybe it's really truly a 1 or a 2. It was a small disappointment. And if I would have said to my wife right then, or even just to myself, I wouldn't even necessarily have to talk to her about it. If I'd have said, no big deal. I acknowledge that hurts. Yep, that hurts. Feels like she was not thinking about me. And if you feel like you need to forgive her, whatever it takes, if you immediately deal with it, feel it, process it, let it go, you're fine. But when you ignore it or suppress it or try to pretend it didn't bother you, or when she even apologizes and says, oh gosh, you know what? I forgot your Listerine. And you, instead of saying, gosh, honey, that kind of, yeah, I was really looking forward to getting that. Thank you for acknowledging that you forgot that. I really appreciate you. Then it's over, right? Or she could apologize to you and you could say, it's nothing, no big deal, I'll just get some tomorrow. Well, if you do that, that might work for you for a while. It might work for you for 10 or 20 years. But eventually, all those little things are going to make you sick, give you cancer, literally, or depression, or obesity, or diabetes, or a stroke, or even Alzheimer's. I'm not exaggerating. So one thing I'm learning today is to let go. And when something happens to me external, rather than saying I get a source of my own experience, I get to be the source of my own joy, and I don't I don't have to be influenced by my environment. Instead, I'm going to say that's just feedback. It's just feedback. It's not that I don't. It's not that I'm not influenced by it. It's not that it doesn't affect me. It's that instead of me judging it, I let it go. And maybe not even let it go. Instead of me judging it, I acknowledge that's interesting feedback. That really hurt that she forgot the Listerine, or that's interesting or that's great feedback. My foot hurts. Aren't I thrilled that my pain receptors in my foot work so that I was able to stop immediately and not destroy my foot by walking on a foot with a big thorn in it? If you've made it this long, congratulations. There's more good stuff to come. We're about 10 minutes into it. I don't know how long I'm going to go here, but this is mostly for me anyway, and for me to integrate what I'm learning today. And if you can learn from it too, awesome. So the next thing, the next thing that I'm going to integrate here is detachment and non-judgment. Deepak Chopra, in his book, The Seven Spiritual Laws of Success, he talks about detachment and non-judgment. Detachment meaning you have an intention, you have an outcome that you're looking for. For example, you're walking through the Appalachians looking for this cabin that's 5 miles away to sleep in that night in a warm bed. So that is your intention, and it's good. It's good to have that. But if you are attached to that outcome, then when you get the thorn in your foot, either you're going to try and force your way through and hurt your foot more, or maybe you sit down to take care of your foot, but you're angry. Why is my camera flashing? I have no idea what that means. I hope it's not going to cut me off. Or you're angry and you get disturbed and you're not able to enjoy the trip. Or maybe maybe you villainize yourself for not watching for thorns. I don't know. But you get by being attached to the outcome. Then when the outcome doesn't happen, you're unhappy. You're unhappy. You're unhappy that the outcome, because you're attached to it. So instead of being attached to the outcome, you intend the outcome. You have a goal to shoot for, but when something changes that you couldn't predict, you don't get upset about that. You just simply say, oh, great, that means I get to make camp here tonight, or that means whatever it is that you get to change and shift into. So the other thing I'm learning right now is to not be attached. To not be attached to the outcome. It's good to have goals, targets, intentions, but when I pick a target, a goal, a destination, I say this or something better. And that something better might be that I get to make camp right here, 5 miles from the cabin in the woods, and appreciate the leaves on the ground, and appreciate the smells and of the leaves rotting, and appreciate the sound of the birds and the crickets at night, whatever, and sleep out there in the open. Maybe this is the something better that I couldn't have predicted. And what does God have to teach me here in this place? So with sales, I was forcing it. I felt like I was trying to force it. And this is just an area that I get to learn and grow, and it's okay. I'm not villainizing myself on that. I really appreciate all the coaching I've had on this so far. But the conclusion I came to today, based on an extended conversation with a couple of different close friends who really helped me to clarify some things, is to really love, to sell, to provide value, to offer what I offer from a place of love, not from a place of fear or scarcity or anything else. And in that love, I'm looking for the perfect outcome, for the perfect fit for that person. So let's say that you love Applebee's. That's your favorite restaurant. From a sales perspective, you don't go to Applebee's because they offer one thing. So let's say they got 3 offerings, say, but for example, let's say this is one of their 3 offerings and the other 2 are similar. So if you go to Applebee's, you get a hamburger, a small serving of fries, and a side salad. And if you go between noon and 2 p.m., you also get a small Coke. So let's get Applebee's. That's it. Let's just say that's their one offering. Well, that's not why you go to Applebee's. You want to look at the menu, and you want to find what fits you right now. And when you walk into Applebee's, you may think you want chicken Caesar salad, but after you look at the menu, you might decide, no, I think I really want their greasy fries and mini hamburger sliders, or maybe Maybe you decide you want their, a shrimp dish, or maybe you don't even want anything. Maybe you decide to have a margarita and a glass of water. So I think what I've been doing wrong with my sales is I'm approaching it with these pre-thought out packages, and that's not. It fits some people, and if it does, awesome. I'm going to offer that package, but I think what I'm going to do now is be more flexible to really look for what they really need and not make it fit something that I've preconceived, but rather to, if what I preconceived fits them perfectly, awesome. But if it doesn't, how can I change that? So for example, I think that I've been encouraging people to commit to a year process, which I still believe in. And I know that a lot of people, maybe a majority, I'm learning, don't want to do that. For whatever reason, doesn't matter why, just the fact is, if they don't want to do it, then they aren't going to hire me, and they don't get the results they're looking for, and I don't have a chance to serve them. So maybe instead of me asking for a one-year commitment, even though I never would try to hold anybody to it, I certainly don't have anybody sign a legal agreement or anything, but instead of asking for a long-term commitment, maybe I just say, here's the deal. Rather than, I think what you really need is you need to go see your doctor here in the next week and get these labs that I'm recommending, and you and I need to talk on the phone in 2 weeks, and you need to provide me a copy of those labs, and we'll go over those labs in detail, and I will give you a very thorough, comprehensive, accurate assessment of where you are from a lab perspective and give you some clear recommendations on what you can do next. And for that, we're going to agree that you're going to pay me $5. Okay, I'm going to charge more than that, but just for sake of this thing. And so then that person says, awesome, let's do that. And then I clarify, I say, Johnny, been thrilled talking to you. I just want to clarify. So I have agreed to do a thorough evaluation, interpretation of your labs and give you a very clear picture about what your next one step is going to be after you get your labs. And you've agreed to pay me $5 for that, to go to your doctor within the next 4 days and get those labs drawn, and then to show up on a call that we will schedule now for 2 weeks from now. And you're agreeing to give me your credit card information so that I can bill that right now. Is that correct? Are you clear on that? And they say either yes, wonderful, and I take the card and bill it, and they schedule the labs, and then we get them their one initial outcome. Or they say no, and then we renegotiate. At that point, though, then after 2 weeks, I get to interpret their labs and give them some huge value at that point. And at that point, they say, thank you so much with this information. I'm going to go to my doctor and do what I'm going to do, and that's it, and maybe that's the last time we talk. Or, more likely, after that conversation, they're going to say, wow, I think I really want your assistance for the next step, too. And so then I renegotiate. Okay, tell you what, for the next 90 days, we're going to do this and this. This is what I think would serve you best, and I'm going to charge you now $10 for that. And they agree, and we can do that. And at the 90-day mark, they're awesome. They're loving it. And we're done talking. Or more likely, at the 90-day mark, they say, wow, I've already made so much progress, and now I can see what's really in reach is this. So James, what would it cost if we maybe extended this for another 6 months at this point? And then we renegotiate. So I think, no, I don't think, I know, I feel, it feels great to me to take this approach. And what was pointed out to me is, how did I do this as a doctor? I never tried to get any patient to commit to a month or 6 months or a year of anything with me. When a patient came to me, I said, here's your first step. And we took that step together. And then they came to me 2 weeks later, and we assessed that. And I said, how'd you do? And they said, awesome. And we took the next step. Or they said, I didn't do anything you recommended. And I said, okay, great. So would you like to still go back and do that? Or what's next? No, I never felt good about that in the first place. So then we find something else. Take the whatever the step it is. And the point is, I would build that relationship with that person over time, a week at a time, a month at a time, a visit at a time. When I was delivering babies, I'd be building that relationship with that mother, young mother to be, over 9 months. Every couple of weeks, every month, I'd be seeing her and building that relationship. At the front, there wasn't any sign up that said you have to stay with me for the whole 9 months till you get pregnant or till you deliver. Certainly there was occasions where someone had a pregnancy that turned out to be not something I wanted to manage at some point, and I would refer them on to someone that did higher risk obstetrics than me, or at the end of pregnancy. Maybe they have a need for a special kind of surgery that I'm not qualified for, whatever. Those things would change. And I don't remember this ever happening, but it might have, that someone started with me, and after a visit or two with me, they decided I wasn't the best fit, and they decided they wanted to see one of my partners. And wonderful, because that person was blessed and got served and got what they needed. So from a sales perspective, that's what I think I get to do. And this is the outline that I'm going to use. First of all, when I talk to someone, I'm going to do, you can call it small talk if you want, but I'm going to do form. I'm going to ask questions about family, about occupation, about recreation, about what turns them on, what motivates somebody, what makes them, what do they love. And then I'm going to go through 4 things with them. I'm going to talk about outcome. So the question might be, why are we on this phone call? Why do you want to connect with me? And whatever they answer, then I'm going to ask multiple questions, at least 3 questions, to get more clear on the outcome that they want. And my goal here is to understand them, to love them, to serve them. And then I'm going to go to the next section, which is obstacle. I'm going to say, so what's in your way? Why have you not been achieving this outcome? What's your obstacle? What's your roadblock? And they're going to say whatever it is. Let's say the guy that wants to lose weight, he'll say, well, the problem is my ankles are so bad, I can't walk, I can't run, anything I seem to do, even biking hurts my ankles. So then I'll ask him 3 questions about his obstacle, and I might find out during those 3 or 4 questions that his ankles aren't really the issue. It's he gets out of breath every time he moves because he's so fat or whatever it is. Anyway, I'll get clear on his obstacle, on what's holding him back, wanting to, at this point, still just loving him and wanting to understand him and create value for him in the moment, not thinking at all about whether or not I get to work with him long term or anything like that. And then the next section is the difference. So I'll say, what difference will it make? What difference would it make if you had the outcome that we talked about above? And I'll read back to him his outcome. Well, I want to lose 40. So what difference will it make for you, John Boy, when you lose 40 pounds? How will that affect you? And then he'll say, gosh, for the first time in 10 years, I could probably play baseball with my kids, or I could get down on the floor and play checkers with my granddaughter, or whatever, And then I'll ask him multiple questions there, and I'll take notes, and I'll get to know him, and I'll get to know what's important to him, where does he want to go. And then at the end, I'll ask him, okay, so I'll read back what his outcome. So you want to lose the 40 pounds, and what's been in your way is your ankle problem or whatever it turned out to be, and you're excited about being able to play checkers with your granddaughter on the floor when you feel better. So if I can help you do all this, how would that feel really important to you in your life and who you are? And so then we'll ask some questions along those, and I'll get really clear about what he understands, or about what, how that's important to him, how that's critical to him, how that really helps him become who he wants to be. And then I go through the process I talked about a minute ago, where if he fits one of my plans, fine, I offer him that. And if he doesn't, I say, normally I charge, say $1,000 a month to be part of this thing that I have set up. But you know what? For you, I'm feeling like maybe what would really serve you the best. My camera's blinking again. I don't know what that means. I'm nervous that it's not recording right now. But I can't tell. I guess I'll find out later when I watch this. So I'm not going to give any content. Come on, be over with. Okay. You done yet? Okay. So I'm thinking, well, for you, I think that $1,000 a month and that, 12-month plan, it may be for you, it may not. But I'm thinking right now, rather than us planning on that immediately, let's just do this. Tell you what, you pay me $5 right now, and I'm going to give you some very specific lab recommendations. You're going to go to your doctor and get those ordered in the next 4 days, and then 2 weeks from now, you and I are going to have a talk, and I'm going to interpret your labs for you and help you figure out your next step. And he says yes, and then I clarify, and then we move forward. And that way, I feel awesome because I've added value. I've actually gotten paid a little bit. He feels awesome because he's got a clear next step. And then the next step, I get to add huge value when I interpret his labs. And when I interpret those to him, then he starts understanding, okay, I am the physician mentor. I'm not a physical trainer. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not a sports coach. I'm not a nutrition coach. To some large degree, I'm all that. But he understands, oh no, gosh, this guy is the doctor. He is the physician mentor. He has 20 years fund of knowledge of practicing medicine in multiple fields, including a comprehensive family medicine and emergency medicine and anti-aging medicine. And so then the value is there. He gets the value. And so at that point, I offer him maybe, okay, so you're loving this, so is that all you need? And he might say, yep. Or he might say, well, wait a minute, okay, I've got the next step, but I don't think I can, what would it, how about we work on this for another 3 months? And so I might offer him a 90-day plan or a 6-month plan at that point of what needs to happen next. And that feels really authentic to me. It feels really, really authentic to me. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Mostly I recorded these videos for my own, just to really clarify what I'm learning and to anchor it and to learn it for myself. And hopefully this process of me talking it back to myself has been instructive for you too. And as I always say, go be unstoppable. Be unstoppable.